Have you ever had a dream that everyone else thought was impossible? A goal so big, so far away, that people laugh just hearing about it? Today, let me tell you the story of a king who set his heart on something extraordinary, a distant mountain, hidden in the clouds, and his unwavering journey to reach it. The king was a man with a restless heart. Unlike most of his subjects, he dreamed of something beyond his kingdom. Every day, he would climb the highest tower in his palace and gaze at a distant mountain on the horizon. Its peak, hidden in clouds, had captivated him since he was a young prince. It wasn't just a mountain to him, it was his dream. He believed there was something incredible waiting for him there, something worth leaving his royal comforts behind for. One evening, the king gathered his ministers and advisors and shared his dream. But instead of encouragement, he was met with disbelief. "Why waste your time chasing a faraway mountain?" they scoffed. "It's better to stay here, rule the kingdom, and live a comfortable life." They thought he was foolish, a king lost in his daydreams. But the king couldn't ignore the call of the mountain. His heart was set on it, and no amount of laughter or doubt could change his mind. The king knew this journey wouldn't be easy. He had little knowledge of what lay ahead, and many doubted his strength, but he had a determined heart. Over the next few days, he gathered the bare essentials: food, water, and a simple walking stick. At dawn one morning, he left his palace and his kingdom behind. The king was finally following his dream, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. He was stepping out toward the unknown. At first, every step felt like an adventure, but as days turned into weeks, the journey grew harder. The king faced hunger, harsh weather, and exhaustion. There were moments when he doubted himself, wondering if he'd ever reach his goal. The mountain seemed so far, and the path was filled with challenges he hadn't expected. Still, every time he thought of giving up, he looked up at the mountain in the distance, reminding himself what he had set out. His goal gave him strength and kept him going, one step at a time. One day, after a particularly tiring stretch, the king met an old man sitting by a shrine. The man greeted him kindly and asked, "Why do you travel this path so far from home?" The king replied, "I am heading to the mountain on the horizon. It has always been my dream to reach it." The old man smiled, saying, "The mountain is indeed beautiful, but remember, the path will test your spirit. You will need more than just strength, you'll need patience and resilience." At these words stayed with the king, strengthening his resolve as he continued on his journey. As the king continued, he passed through villages where he was tempted to stop and settle. In one village, a kind merchant offered him a job, promising a comfortable life. In another, a young woman suggested he could stay and live happily with her. For a moment, the king considered it. The mountain was still so far, and the comforts of village life tempted him. But then he remembered his goal, the mountain that had called to him for so long. He knew he couldn't abandon his dream, even if the path was difficult. After months of walking, the king finally reached the foot of the mountain, but this was just the beginning of his greatest challenge. The mountain was steep, rugged, and unforgiving. Each step was a battle against exhaustion and fear. The climb was treacherous, with narrow ledges and rocky paths, yet the king kept going, his goal in sight. He had come too far to turn back now. After days of climbing, the king finally reached the summit. The view before him was beyond anything he had ever imagined. Endless valleys, rivers, and forests stretched as far as his eyes could see. The beauty was breathtaking. In that moment, the king realized that every hardship, every moment of doubt, had been worth it. He had achieved his goal and was rewarded with a view that few others had seen. The king's journey wasn't over. After spending time reflecting on his achievement, he began the journey back home. When he returned, he was greeted with astonishment and admiration. His subjects, who once doubted him, Listen to his story and awe, the king had become an inspiration. A living proof that with a clear goal and determination, even the most impossible dreams can come true. The king's journey to the distant mountain wasn't just about reaching a faraway destination, it was a journey of growth, courage, and the power of perseverance. He showed us that when you set a goal, no matter how distant or impossible it may seem, it gives you strength. It gives you purpose, something to focus on, even when the road gets tough. The king's story teaches us that success isn't about having everything go perfectly. It's about facing setbacks, resisting distractions, and continuing to move forward. Remember, each of us has a mountain to climb. That mountain might be a personal goal, a career dream, or a challenge you've been avoiding. But like the king, if you keep that goal in sight, you'll find the strength to overcome any obstacle. So what is your mountain? What's the one goal that keeps calling to you, no matter what others say? Share it with us in the comments. Let's inspire each other to take that first step and keep climbing until we reach the top. If you enjoyed the story and found it inspiring, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more stories, and remember your mountain is waiting. All you have to do is start the journey.